15 degrees, you can see your breath. Out here in the lake effect, breaking tables like it's poetry. Where else would you rather be? Pinto, Ron, Elvis, and the lay poncho. The members that you need to know. 'Cause once you out here now, your family. Where else would you rather be? Where else would you rather be?
Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker and StreamYard. We're so glad that you're joining us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud.
It's the vibe so ridiculous. Since 12 plus 83 was 6. The shout rocking like a symphony. Where else would you rather be?
All right, let's get straight to it. Really excited for tonight's episode, the season 5 premiere episode for Nickel City Crew here. It's really crazy because I feel so blessed because I started this thing literally 5 seasons ago, right before Perfection in the Park. I was by myself and I did some reflecting last night and I was listening to old episodes and I was like, when did DT join us? And it was season 2, episode 2. He became like my co-host. I am so excited for season 5. I could not be doing this without him joining me for the season 5 premiere episode. As always, my co-host riding shotgun, Adam Dump Truck Rupsick. Check him out on Instagram and Twitter at Adam Rupsick, RUPCZYK. Holla at the crew, DT. What's good? What's good? You can hear it in my voice.
Nickel
I'm
City.
excited.
What's up, baby? What's up, Rob? What's up, Nickel City? Happy Friday. Happy
TGIF.
Tyrod Taylor. Happy Trent Edwards. Season 5.
I love it.
5.
I love it.
Wow,
I love
man.
it.
This is it's flowing by. We've come so, we always joke about listening to those first episodes and now listening to this and here we are, baby. Season 5 about to take off in the prime of 17 in our Super Bowl era. We will have a parade during Nickel City Crew. We will have a parade during Nickel City Crew. And it's a pleasure to be back, Rob. I love you, man, and happy to be back. Missed you. Missed your face, dude. How you doing?
Oh, man, I can't complain. God is good, man. I can't complain. The little one is getting really big. You already know Princess Ivy's in the building. She will be 6 months next week. And it's like, what in the ham sandwich is going on? I felt like I just brought her home from the hospital. So it's been going crazy, man. New job going really well. So things are going well for me, man. So I cannot complain. As I said, God is good, man. I just want to give a couple shout outs before we get started for season 5. Because instead of doing it at the end of the show, I just wanted to do it at the beginning and just give honor where it's due. Listen, big time shout out to our creative director, Olivia Nagel. She makes us look so good. She literally gave me chills the other day when she did our promo. I said, listen, Olivia, remind everybody that season 5 started. We're coming back on Friday, TGIF. And I was like, maybe a little bit of Mace, a little bit of welcome back action. And she she knocked it out of the park, a home run like she always does. So shout out to Olivia Nagel. She really makes us look great. And we really appreciate her support and her help making us look good. Because as you guys know, Nickel City Crew, I have no effing clue what I'm doing on social media. So I really appreciate her. And also shout out Queen City Vintage. They will be our sponsor again once the games start this September. So we really appreciate Nick and his crew over there. Again, check them out, Queen City Vintage on Elmwood Ave across from 40 Thieves. I think that I just saw on Instagram a couple weeks ago, they had like a big party or something like that, and people were just flowing in and out of the store. There was a line around the corner, and that was really cool. So we really appreciate their support. Again, they'll be coming back season 5. They'll be our sponsor. When the games start, we'll be doing giveaways each and every week. You guys already know the drill there. Just hashtag or whatever Olivia tells y'all to do on Nickel City Crew, y'all do it. Join the giveaways, and we will be giving out some cool stuff this season. DT, we ready to go, man. Listen, it's funny because the draft is coming up right around the corner. So now we got our shout outs out of the way. Season 5 is under the way for Nickel City Crew. And, the draft is so close that I was like, well, it's time for us to get back, DT. It's time for us to get back. And I know I called you a couple weeks ago. I wanted to just kind of go through it, just kick back, a nice little chill episode. We don't have to do a long one tonight and just kind of go through what Brandon Beane has done. Obviously, season 4 ended for Nickel City Crew with, just the way that it was, man. I listened to that episode the other day, DT and little brother, and it was like, man, that same familiar feeling. But it's something about the new season, DT, that always just brings back a little bit of just renewal, a little bit of juices start flowing, and you get that optimism again, man. It's hard to do it. It's hard to ignore it, man.
Yeah, I mean, we go through the way the season ended too, it was football. I was good to chill on football for a little bit. You had to
Yeah,
watch the
me too.
Super Bowl. A lot of
Right.
people were saying they were boycotting it or whatever the case, but you got to watch the bowl.
Yeah, of
See
course.
Kendrick, see the commercials, and we got to see the Chiefs get their ass kicked. So,
That was fun.
we'll take that. But then after that, I was very cool to just kind of chill with ball for a while. But it
Absolutely.
doesn't take long. That free agency, it's the NFL knows what they're doing, Rob. They know what they're doing. The entertainment business, the best in the world. They know
Pull you
how to
back in.
they know how to get you hooked. They know not to give you too much and just give you a little bit when you're craving them, and they do. I found myself watching that bullshit UFL last week to just to see some pads clank, and get,
Oh,
to
that's
get the
funny.
feeling and get going. But it'll be here before we know it. Training camp will start rattling off. We'll start counting down the weeks. We'll do the schedule will be out a few weeks after the draft, and it'll be week one when we'll be out at the Club Dub, we're calling it now, at the tailgate, Club
I
Dub
love it.
with
I
Big
love
Ben
it.
and crew,
I
and get
love it.
after it for another season and another journey, the last one in the Ralph. So I'm pumped up. We got to contain it because we still got a hell of a long way,
Long way to go. Yep.
but the NFL knows what they're doing. I had just enough break. Now I'm ready to get hyped, get back in it. Nickel City Crew, we're ready for you, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm really excited as well, DT. You're absolutely right. And it's funny because when you look at it and you kind of look, this is the other part of the job, the team building. And it's funny because when I was growing up, I used to love that kind of part, throwing NBA Live. That's, that's the equivalent to NBA 2K for you youngins out there. NBA Live was the video game, it was the premier one. And then you'd go and I'd build in my rosters and making sure all my teams were straight and different things like that. Then you had the college football and stuff like that. So I have a definite appreciation for Brandon Beane and his job and what he has to do in respects to team building. And it can be harder in some cases than other years. But DT, there's not too many holes to fill. And I know that we'll do our draft preview episode next week, but there's not a lot of issues and areas to address. One of the things that we definitely want to see, and we know that we talked about it at the end of season 4, was that we need some more blue chip talent. So I don't know really what Brandon's going to do to address that. The draft is sometimes harder when you're drafting as low as the Bills are, but we'll talk about that more next week. Let's talk about some of the things that Brandon has done this year, DT, and just go through it real quick and kind of comb through it. They start off free agency, the Bills do, DT, Nickel City Crew, Bills Mafia, signing Joshua Palmer. Josh Palmer from the LA Chargers. And I watched some of his tape, DT. Yeah, 5. Look at that. Season 5. Look at that. Everything works together. I watched some of his tape, DT, and this is a Canadian kid, I guess, right over the border. And, I don't know. Some people were kind of down on him and not. I don't know, man. I don't think that he's getting ready to come in and be a young Amari Cooper or anything like that. But I like the signing. I thought that this was a guy that was a little bit underutilized. Obviously, with Harbaugh coming in last year to the Chargers, he's a run-heavy guy, just like he was at Michigan and San Francisco. I like the kid, man. Like, I don't have any problem with it. I don't have any problem with it.
Well, I don't know what they kind of thought about 13 and Mac Hollins, and if they thought, he was coming back.
I think they thought
trying to get him back. I don't know,
Yeah.
The situation. I don't know if this had anything to do with that future thought. But
Right.
yeah, it's not a bad signing at all. I'm not knocking
Over
down the
the moon.
door like we
Yeah,
just
over
got,
the moon.
Justin Jefferson or something like that. But we're gonna be glass half full, and a guy with a kind of a change of scenery. What I like, it's a multi-year deal. Being usually a 1-year deal, if it's kind of wishy-washy and whatnot, he goes multiple year deal on this. Now, devil's advocate will argue Curtis Samuel last year on a multiple year deal, but
Right.
we'll get there. I think this offseason I'm not writing off one yet in Curtis Samuel.
Okay.
I think the injuries and stuff had a lot to do with it. And
Turf toe.
the NFL isn't a game. It's so talented nowadays. It's not a game where you can just roll up and jump in. You need weeks and weeks of practice. We've seen all pros and all stars not be in a familiar situation, not be able to get on the field. So it takes a long time to get acclimated. So I'm not writing off Curtis Samuel, but this is a kind of similar vibe. He's not a similar player, but a similar in the hierarchy of wide receivers, I think, coming over, has some potential, doesn't have a lot of craziness, but the floor is also not very low either, so it's a safe signing. I think, what did they say? He gets open, right?
He gets open.
Separation. And what did we
Contested
hear
catches,
all
too.
last year, Rob? We'd have no separation. We got no separation. So, all right, now we got a little separation. We'll see what happens. 17's going to find you if he wants to. You just got to catch the ball. And, I think he's no little boy. He's got some meat on him. He can get up and go a little bit, get that separation going. Not moving the needle 100% for me, but I definitely don't have any issues with the signing. And Brandon Beane putting a multi-year deal on it means he sees some sort of framework and some sort of, this dude isn't coming here to sit the bench. He's coming here to get minutes and fill that void of 18 and 13. I still think we still need to get another wide receiver, and we'll get into that obviously
next
through the
week,
draft and offseason, whatever. But he fills whatever role that was. I think younger, clean, and a lot of potential coming out of it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I liked his tape. I like some of the stuff that I saw from him, and exactly what you were talking about, going up and getting the ball, contested catches, creating separation. He was definitely heralded for that. So I do like it. It's funny because, DT, when the next signings were happening, and I'm going in chronological order, it was funny because Michael Hoyt gets signed by the Bills to another 3-year deal by Beane. And then I put it in the notes. I was like, well, it's McGuire and Sosa after we find out the issue with Ogunjobi. It's funny because, listen, here's what I'll say about it. And it's funny because for Bills Mafia that doesn't know, I don't know if you're living under a rock or not, but even if you haven't been paying too much of attention to the offseason, the Bills signed Michael Hoyt. He was a defensive end linebacker, a little like a hybrid guy from the where was he from? He played for the Rams. I was thinking of the other LA team. Yeah, he's playing for the Rams, and he's got a lot of positional versatility. And then a couple days later, they signed Larry Ogunjobi, and then we find out at the signing day that Larry had a little bit of an issue. And it is funny because Brandon Beane is a smooth he is a smooth criminal, and he kind of slips it in there, and he's like, "Oh, why we're talking about these guys." Real quick, they're going to be suspended for the first 6 games. And, everybody's like, what the heck? It's a Friday. And everybody was joking that it was a media dump and he was trying to sneak it through. But they will be suspended for PEDs. It's funny because I think that Larry Ogunjobi is it's a state of how the Bills really run their program. And I think that kind of states and it shows how far we have come from the drought Bills. They're a well-run organization, are highly respected. And I think that Ogunjobi's representatives just worked out a deal and then were upfront about it after they got ready to go ahead and sign the paper and agree to the framework. And by that time, Brandon doesn't want to look like an ass. He doesn't want to look like a bad guy by just saying, okay, well, we're just going to cut up the contract. And he kind of just fulfills his promise because this guy, as he stated, had never been in any trouble before. And Ogunjobi's down here in Charlotte where I'm living, DT. He played at the University of Charlotte. So listen, I think that it actually speaks positive for the Bills that Brandon Beane didn't huff and puff. He didn't make the Bills look bad or anything like that. They had agreed to something, and then he follows through on it, after, the guy was up front. So, the Bash Brothers, you got to deal with it.
And it was like 50-50, right? Hoyt seemed a little more like
Hoyt told him. Hoyt told him ahead of time. Then Larry told him after he was coming in the sign.
Sure. And both, just fillers. If there's holes on this roster, it is defensive line, obviously defensive backfield, whatever. But we gotta start filling them. We had some people out. We got to fill those roles, and who knows? That's the rotational based on this defensive line. We need bodies. I like the opportunity for both these guys coming in. Yeah. I mean, Hoyt coming in literally has played defensive end, defensive tackle, linebacker, slot corner.
Yeah, that was weird. I saw a couple of highlights. Yeah, it's crazy.
He has been on game day rosters at 230 pounds, and he has been on game day rosters at 310 pounds.
Yes.
That is like, man, I need to get down to the plane, into the twos for the playing weight, and then back up to my defensive tackle weight for the winter to hibernate. But
it's wild.
That's that the versatility, and that's kind of what the Bills like, kind of all over the field. And we see guys like Greg Rousseau going and playing the interior sometimes of that defensive line, and I think that's what this Hoyt guy is going to be about. Ogunjobi.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes that Rick Ross song, Box Chevy. I'm making millions with that Ogunjobi. So And he's a big boy. Put some good minutes in for the Steelers. Just fill guys. I would love for them not to be suspended for 6 games. Because this is what I'm nervous about is how does training camp and stuff look for this type of situation? They goes in.
They're allowed to practice. They're allowed to be around the team.
That's what I'm saying. So this is going to be a defense where there's some core guys that are going to be the starters, but there's going to be a lot of competition. And we talked about it a little last year on competition and kind of roll the ball out. The dogs will stand up. The dogs will make this team. The dogs will play.
That's right.
You go into a training camp and these guys come in, and what if they're good and they start fitting in and they start producing, and then you kind of got to pull them off for the first 6 weeks. And that's what I'm a little afraid of. That kind of ramp up, and then it's like, damn, it was a good signing. These dudes are legit, and then they can't play. Right. So that's a little concerning to see, but we need the bodies. We need the numbers, and they're still appealing. Right. So this isn't confirmed that they're missing out on 6.
Well, I know Ogunjobi is not appealing, and I'm not sure about Hoyt. I think Hoyt is also not appealing because I think that he was under the impression that he was just taking responsibility of what he put in his body.
And I mean, these guys are on, like, they're not all on steroids. I'm not saying that.
No.
They're on every one of these players, from supplements to the punter is on some sort of supplement. They have to be. They're world-class athletes. They have to be in the best shape possible. And sometimes it gets a little sketch, and these things happen. And the NFL is obviously very strict, and I don't think they were openly saying, "Oh, I'm doing this just to get big and I won't get in trouble." It just was a thing of the thing, just like A-Rod with Guerrera and I didn't know
whatever that place
whatever.
was.
Yeah. Their bodies, I like the potential on them, but I'm a little nervous about them ramping up and getting acclimated with this team and them being a good fit, and then all of a sudden we don't see them until Thanksgiving. So. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. You're absolutely right. That's a point that I hadn't really thought about. Obviously, yes, if it gels and it looks great, and then you have to come up with a plan B. So it'll be incumbent on McDermott and Bobby Babbage to figure that out. Make sure that they sprinkle in, whether it be those draft picks or Javon Solomon, all those other guys. Make sure that they're getting those guys their reps as well, because at the beginning of the season you won't have those guys. Now, going again in chronological order, it's funny because we're going to get ready to talk about a particular running back that I know everybody is hot on, and we got a topic to fill with him. But one of his backups, Ty Johnson, was signed to a 2-year deal. I like Ty Johnson a lot. I've been singing his praises for the last few years. I like his versatility in respects to how he can catch the ball. I like how he can spell Cook and how he's definitely different than Ray Davis as well. And obviously he had that highlight last year with that touchdown in the back of the end zone, sliding around and catching the ball. So he's got some great receiving skills. I like Ty Johnson personally. I think that he is a good fit. And I was happy that the Bills brought him back, DT, because I think that, and we'll get to it in a minute for James Cook, but I think that he fits in the room in respects to the way that he's just different. He's different than Cook. He's not Cook, and he's definitely different than Ray Davis. I like what he brings to the team.
Yeah, the touchdowns and the catches were what everyone sees and what everyone notices. But the biggest point, I thought he was a non-negotiable to bring back. I thought we needed him back no matter what. Is that pass blocking technique? We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
The number one priority, protect the goods. And the goods is number 17. And that is a serious situation in the NFL. You need a running back that can lay a block and hold it. And Josh doesn't need much. Josh needs needs to slow that guy down a little bit. And Ty Johnson does more than that. And so that's what I really wanted him back for. Yes, the touchdowns, his catches are great. Pressure is a privilege, and he gets the privilege of pressure because he's earned it and Josh likes him and throws to him. But where he really earns his money and why I think he was a non-negotiable to come back this year was that pass blocking. And I think that's huge. You got to keep 17 upright, especially as he gets older. He's going to start getting, everything is going to be a little less as years go, and you got to keep him upright and protect him. So good signing there. I hope he still catches a bunch of touchdowns. He's a nice little anytime touchdown bet because he's always great odds every Sunday and kind of sprinkle it in. And he's electric. He gets the people going and with his touchdowns. And but he does his job and he goes in and he blocks for 17 when he has to. And I thought it was a non-negotiable to bring him back. I didn't even really think of a time where we wouldn't bring him back. I thought it was a brainer. 26 back on the squad.
Yeah, I like it. I do like him. Like I said, I've been singing his praises for the last few years, so I'm in agreement with you on everything that you said. Now, the splashiest chronological order, the the splashiest, the biggest name that we pulled in. It's interesting because I don't know necessarily. I heard some people talk about this player and and the risk involved and things like that. And I was on Twitter and I was like, listen, man, the money that we gave Joey Bosa, I'm like, listen, there's no real risk. Like he's not. If he wasn't as hurt as he always is, he would have commanded way more than the $12 million that they're giving him. So because of that, the Bills have already built in and already baked in that kind of that mitigated risk. They know that this guy is not always healthy. They understand that. But the biggest fish that the Bills have brought in respects to name recognition is the former All-Pro Joey Bosa, released by the Chargers, a longtime Charger lifer, obviously the older brother of Nick Bosa out there in San Francisco. And one thing I could say about him is that the dude is a baller. When right, he's a baller. He's one of the best pass rushers in the league, including with his brother, including Watt, including Myles Garrett. Now, he's getting a little bit longer in the tooth. I'm not exactly sure why the Chargers dropped him. I know that had to be, financially motivated as well. But at 29 years old, if you can find a way to get this guy ready to go for November, December, and January, I see no really risk with this whole move, DT. Where's your thought on Joey Bosa? Because I know a lot of people on Twitter went back and forth, and his guy's always injured, and congratulations signing a guy that's going to play 7 games and different things like that. I looked up, the stats. You hear it on WGR. His pass win rate, was like 7th among defensive ends last year when he was playing. He had a pretty productive season last year. I look at him as an upgrade over what Von was. Von was a shell of himself. We have to be honest with ourselves about that. Once that injury happened with the ACL, it's unfortunate, but he was never the same player again. He was on track. It was looking like a great investment for Brandon Beane that first season. Then he goes down to Detroit on Thanksgiving, and that was really the end of Von. To me, this is an upgrade over Von Miller, and I just don't see too much downside. Yes, obviously we'll be pissed off if he misses 5 games, but as long as he's ready for like November, December, January, I really could care less. I want him harassing the quarterbacks late in the season. That's really what you signed him for.
Well, it's part of the script. It's the same thing as Von Miller. We bring in a seasoned finisher, right? Seasoned finisher. Mm-hmm. And I think we were in on Myles Garrett. I think we were in on, some other guys. I believe that fully.
Absolutely.
I think the proof was in the pudding last year. 17 can get it done. The offensive line looks good. Everything's doable. If we have a dominant pass rusher, Lombardi is a lot more probable. And it was part of it. That's why they did it with Von Miller 2 years ago. And right. This is the same exact reasoning they're doing it with Bosa here. I mean, Bosa, like you said, he was healthy. Khalil Mack, an older Khalil Mack, got $20 million a year and stayed with the Chargers. So I think the Chargers let him go. We're like, okay, we're not paying both of them. We're not paying 2 30-plus-year-old pass rushers, multiple millions of dollars. I get that. So we take advantage. We move in and get him. A big dominant player when he is good, and his injuries, again, this is very biased and half full and very homer of me to say, but going through his injuries, there's nothing structural. There's nothing ACL. There's nothing, it's all bone bruises and foot
it's
sprain.
All football shit.
Yeah, exactly. He's getting banged up, right? And granted, that gets worse as you get older. Soft tissue is tough, and we see it all the time. But it's 1-year deal. We didn't spend that much on him for that type of caliber player. For that money is very doable, and he's still in a position where he's young enough. He can go out and get that bag again. He can get another 2 to 3 year contract at $20 to $25 million a year, and that's 100%, right?
Audition year.
In on the prove it deal. Yep. If he sucks, we say see ya. If he's great, he's gonna go. He knows all he has to do is get 10 sacks this year, and he's gonna get 20-25 million for the next 2 years. So this is the rest of his life. Right now, we're just trying to fill that piece to win the Lombardi. This is the rest of his life and his legacy. He's made a lot of money, but this can really put the cherry on top and give him that second bag, for the next couple of years to kind of end his career. So I like the strategy of this move to really pump this up. And hey, if you stink, it's really no skin off our back. And if you're good, it only helps you and helps us. So all around good signing. He's a dog. He's a beast.
He's great.
He's got to stay on the field. I love that family. Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, talk about the genes. Holy shit, right?
Yeah.
would have maybe liked to see some other, like you see Sweat out there was available.
Right.
I mean, Hendrickson's still available. So things like that, I thought we'd be a little more aggressive, but I think maybe we put our eggs into Myles Garrett, realized it wasn't possible, went with the bargain, made it good for the team, and there's really no skin. If he stinks, it's the same. It's Von Miller the past 2 years of literally doing nothing,
yeah.
and we're still in the AFC Championship with a chance to do it. So,
yeah.
A good strategic move by Bean. If he knows he's got to come in and ball out. I think this gives him a little sense of like, okay, I'm coming back to a situation where we can do it. And I love that line of when Josh texted him and is like, yo, like, I don't think you realize, like, if we do this, like,
we'll be immortalized, he said.
Statues, we got copper, like, you will forever be immortal in this town, and that's dead ass. I mean, Joey Bosa it's gonna feel like he's been here for 40 years if he comes in, rips off 12 sacks, and we win the Lombardi this year. Joey Bosa's a hero. So
sign him the next day.
Ohio State knows how to win. I think he's got a natty out there. I think he was on that natty team with 12 games. And, big necks in the Bosa family. Big necks in the Bosa family.
I love it. I love it. Absolutely. Yes. Him and his brother follow after his father, who I think his dad was a Dolphin back in the day. So, yeah, absolutely. As we round out free agency, the Bills pick up Derek Forrest. He's a depth safety. He played for Washington last year. Makes some big plays, actually, when he got in the game. He doesn't play too much, but he has some starts. I think he had like 17 starts over 4 years. He's rotational and some depth. Kendrick Green was a guard. We all know the Bills' offensive line, one of the best in the league. The same five will be back for our beloved Buffalo Bills next season. And then the final one was Dane Jackson, brought back. We'll talk about it more next week. I think he was brought back as insurance based on what goes on in this draft in a couple weeks. And if shit kind of hits the fan and they can't get the guy that they want at 30, or they decide to go in a different direction, I think that Dane Jackson's here to kind of mitigate the rookie, whether he's a first rounder or a second rounder. And we'll talk about that more next week. I think that Dane Jackson is not your cornerback 2. So don't worry, Bills Mafia. I don't think that this is their plan for cornerback 2. I think they still want to go ahead and get a young guy to come in there. But if things don't go the way that they want them to go and the board doesn't fall a certain way, Dane Jackson is insurance. And obviously they're familiar with him. Now, as we transition from free agency, tonight's episode presented by 26shirts.com here on Buffalo Fanbase, the official Bills Mafia podcast network that DT and I simulcast on. Head on over to 26shirts.com. Salute to the Godfather Del Reed, running a great site over there. Again, here's the deal. You purchase a shirt, portions of the proceeds go to a family that's in need across Western New York and the world. You will be supporting a great cause. They've got great content creators over there designing some cool t-shirts. So please head on over to 26shirts.com. You will be supporting a great cause. You'll be happy that you did. DT, we kind of alluded to it. Extensions galore. It's funny because, Brandon Beane, what do they love to say? They love to say that we love to draft, develop, and pay our own. Draft, develop, pay our own. Well, he sure as hell did that. And four Buffalo Bills get extensions this offseason. Khalil Shakir, Terrell Bernard, Greg Rousseau, and Christian Benford the other day, a couple weeks ago, getting that life-changing money. DT, give me your thoughts on it before we get ready to talk about who was left out. Khalil, I like him. He's not spectacular to me, but he does his job, and I think that he does his job well. I think he's the perfect slot receiver for Josh. I think he's actually like a souped-up Cole Beasley, in my opinion. I like Benford. I think that I don't think that he's game changer. He's not Patrick Willis. He's not, what I mean? He's nothing. He's not game changing out there, but he does make big plays. I think you saw the other side of that coin last year, DT, when you don't get the turnovers, what kind of linebacker you have, but still a leader, a guy, one of the two captains named on the team by their peers last year, along with Josh Allen. I think that he's somebody that you wanted to keep in the room for sure. He's earned his stripes. I think, one of the biggest plays of the season, obviously against Baltimore, forcing that fumble. A good player, good to great player. And that's somebody that I like around. Rousseau, I'm a little bit more, I'm not on the Twitter space. I'm, okay. I think he's good. He hasn't really shown me that he's great yet. He started last year with his hair on fire and kind of sizzled and fizzled off by the end of the year. So I wasn't really too impressed by the time it came AFC Championship time, DT. And then Christian Benford, who doesn't love a story like him? I mean, worked his ass off, beat out the first round pick, starts out of training camp, and then goes on and has a couple good seasons. And last year was his best season, and he gets rewarded. Who doesn't love an awesome story like that? Young guy from Villanova, from Philly. I didn't even know that they played football at Villanova until I heard about him. So, DT, give me your thoughts on the 4 extensions before we head to the one guy that was left out.
Well, it was opposite of last year, right? Last year we got rid of everybody and we're new now. I mean, this was kind of necessity. Whether you love these guys or not, we had to do this. You can't build a brand new team every year and build up the all 53 around 17. Granted, we're blessed with the offensive line. We did a good job of kind of paying them before they got good, so they're not going to kill us on the salary, and we can kind of keep them intact. But you can't just get a new roster every year. So this is something that was necessary, I think. And credit to Brandon Beane for having a couple of years of those draft picks that were, startable players to go in, and we got to have, the core. Like, none of these guys are first team all pros. Hopefully one of them becomes one sooner or later and gets, but we didn't overpay, I don't think, for anybody. It wasn't like ground shattering money we moved around for any of these guys. It was fair all the way around average, a little above average. And that's what these guys are. I have a little more pop on 43. I think Bernard is a playmaker.
Well, let's go in order. What are your thoughts on Shakir? What do you think about him? I say a souped up Beasley.
That was more of he catches everything, and it's a souped up Cole Beasley is a good way to put it. But that was a necessity. We have no receivers kind of in that window of the next couple of years. It's kind of filling it up. Who can we bring in as a group, and one here, one there. Yeah, now we have Josh Palmer, but we have no idea what he's going to be about. We got Curtis Samuel, who really did nothing, and that's really it. So we had to get somebody in here, for
the future,
not permanent, yes, but in that necessity to build around, and he's earned it. I mean, each year it's a perfect progression, like exactly what you want to see as a player in the fourth round guy.
Yeah.
Fourth round guy, you're not going to expect him to come in and be killer first year. And he wasn't. He was opportunistic. He came in and did his thing. The next year, get a few more catches, kind of came on the scene. And then this year, when we had to rely on him a little bit, he came to play. In the end of the year, he wasn't there as much.
He was a 5th rounder. Wow.
Oh,
that's crazy.
Rounder.
Yeah.
He wasn't there as much as maybe I wanted to see him late in the year, but that's also not 100% on him either. If he's not getting the ball thrown to him, that's that. But
that's true.
But I'd like to see him a little more, when now he is our primo guy, so I'd like to see him a little more down the stretch in clutch situations, and that's the next step he has to take, is that rise of, progression, and I think he's done a good job with that. He catches everything. Well, what else? What else can you ask? He's slippery as hell. He never goes down. He catches everything. I'd like to see him a little later in the year, but we needed to do it. On the other side of the ball, 43 makes plays every week.
Yeah, every week. He does.
I'm a believer of him staying on the field. He is the core of that defense. He causes turnovers. He lays hits. He's all over the field for kind of being a little undersized. So I like 43 out of all these signings. Bernard's my number one.
Okay.
I like him on our defense. He's heart and soul of that. Rousseau kind of falls into the same category as Shakir, and like you had to, like you needed some defensive.
We had to.
I mean, if we weren't going to get Sweat or somebody like that, we had to.
I guess. Yeah. I'm just not as impressed. And then I don't think that it's a consensus across Bills Mafia that he's some generational guy or anything like that. But I think that the start of the season last year got everybody all excited and like, oh my gosh, he's starting to come into his own. He's starting to be this guy. And I haven't really seen it. I mean, by the end of the year, he really wasn't making. He was quiet as a mouse. So I don't know. But maybe you're right. Maybe we had to.
And Benford's in the same boat. I mean, we don't literally have another corner other than Taron Johnson, who plays a lot and getting old, and it doesn't look like we're bringing Rasul back. So Dame Jackson, we had to get Christian Benford, and this was smart, because if he does go and ball out this year, he is going to get high cornerback one premium. He's going to get $100 million.
It's a bargain. It's a bargain right now.
4 years, $100 million, and we saw who got
J.C. Horn down here in Charlotte with the Panthers got like $100 million.
Kirsten Benford just as good as him, and he got that primo. So if he goes out and has another solid year, we're going to need to pay him $120 million, right? So got in, I think, at the right time with him, and we needed to. Rousseau, I'd like to see. He's the biggest athletic specimen, the first round pick. We need him to start producing and be that guy and be the yin and yang to, we're not getting 15 sacks out of Joey Bosa, so we need our 10 from Rousseau, and got the money now. You got to go get it.
Yeah, I agree. As we begin to wrap up tonight, it's funny because I saw a lot of stuff on Twitter after Benford. I mean, it was going on all throughout those 4 signings, but then once Benford signed, it was funny. It was this Cat Williams little gif, or whatever, and he was like, "You shouldn't have been talking shit," from one of his stand-ups, and it was funny as hell. And they were obviously aiming at that James Cook. As we wrap up tonight, James Cook, he goes on Twitter, puts the $15 million, the eye googly emojis, and then he doesn't end up getting paid. Now, obviously, I would hope that somebody close to him, whether it be his older brother Dalvin or his agent, told this man that he should not expect $15 million from the Buffalo Bills. I would hope that. Now, obviously, what do you say? You shoot high and you aim for the stars, and then obviously you come back to a more reasonable number. So I'm assuming that there is a reasonable number that he's willing to accept. DT, he's the one left out. Brandon Beane, the last time that he addressed the media, said that, listen, man, we moved on from him because we weren't close. We signed the guys that we thought we were closer with. And he said he doesn't see anything in the near future. I just heard a report earlier last week that I guess maybe he's not going to, cause any problems or anything like that. And he plans to report and yada, yada, yada. What's your initial reaction to James Cook, his ask of the money as we begin to wrap up tonight, DT, because I know you've got to bounce, but what did you think about the whole saga? Did you think he went about it the wrong way? I personally don't know if the social media shit really does it. I don't think that Brandon Beane is really moved by that stuff. That was what I was always yelling and screaming about Stephon Diggs. Like, I don't think that Brandon Beane even cares about that stuff. He cares about the player and the agent. Like, what you call me, you have my number. You tell me what's going on. Somebody had to tell James Cook that he's not going to get $15 million, right? I mean, he knows that, right? I know his brother got the bag from Minnesota, but he knows that, right?
I'd like to know.
He's not a fool, right?
I'd like to know the full story here. We'll never know, right? But did he come after the season and say, "Hey, I just put up big numbers. I want some money," and then Bean and them were like, man. and then so he started the social media stuff to kind of spark it, and maybe that was his way to negotiate. I don't know. If that was the case, that's a little more messy. I hope he just kind of came out and said, and said the stuff to kind of get some attention and see what would happen. But I don't blame him. I mean, this dude in a league where running backs are disrespected every year, and he comes off a career year, 16 touchdowns. He knows if next year in a contract year, if he doesn't get 16 touchdowns, he's not going to get what he could get technically this year.
Or worse, he gets hurt.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a business move on his part to kind of hey, I'm at my highest value. I want to get paid. It's smart in a way, but it's also, you can't expect the Bills to just say, "Oh yeah, you're right." And, So I don't think he thinks he's getting 15. I wish he was a little quieter about it, and Bean kind of says that too. But Bean also said it's hey, James Cook is a man; he's going to handle it how he wants to handle it. And what you were saying about, I don't think he really cares about the outside stuff. It's him talking to the James Cook
agent and the agent.
I don't think it's to a point where this dude's going to hold out or anything.
I was just going to ask you, do you think it gets messy this summer?
No, I think he he knows that this team is one of the best in the league, and he's a crucial asset to that.
The most explosive player besides Josh.
But he's gonna, to give him some wisdom on the business side of things, his brother Delvin. His brother Delvin, super successful career, got paid, got a few different contracts, and then kind of falls off. And James Cook is just trying to get his bag, and it's a business, and he doesn't know how long he's going to be ready to go. And in a league where the average player plays 3 years, this is it could happen. He's not that big. He runs the ball. Bad things could happen. So I don't blame him for wanting the money. He had a career year. He had 16 touchdowns. And if he's not on the team, we got to fill 16 touchdowns.
That's right.
But I also don't think he is in a position where he's just going to hold out and and try to get it done. I think the Bills are going to let it roll. If he has another great season, I will be the first one to get on and say, pay him. He earned it. Pay him. If he has a mediocre season, I still say keep him on the team, pay him. I think he's a great asset to the offense, but not now. He's fine. He's going to play. He's not going to hold out.
He's not going to lose checks, man, on a rookie contract. I
Yeah.
mean, at me, Bills Mafia, you got to remember that these guys are making. He's the final year of his rookie deal. He's about to make $5 million, but you see stuff and he puts his house on the market and stuff like that. I'm like, listen, y'all, he's doing that shit for y'all. Like he's not doing that for the Bills. Like, listen, he's about to make $5 million next year. It'll be the most money he's ever made in his life. And I just think that it's a situation where the Bills, I don't think that they want to pay him early, basically. They might have, and maybe James Cook, like you're right, he came to him and said, hey, listen, I want 15. And they say, hell no. He's like, okay, I'll take 12. And then Brandon was still like, hell no. You know what I mean? And then, you got to play it out. He's not going to lose checks and he's not going to lose money. And I just think that sometimes we lose sight of that. These guys don't like losing money. He's not in a position where he's banked enough money to lose money. He's going to come to work in the summer. I really do think that.
I think it was a situation of, well, you don't know until you ask.
Closed mouth don't get fed.
If I go ask for $15 million, they give me $15 million. Nice. So I think it was one of those type of deals.
Yeah, I absolutely. I agree. I think he will come to work this offseason. Well, it's funny because I've really, really enjoyed the offseason in respects to some of the moves that Brandon Beane made. I don't think that it was anything too splashy. I really didn't expect anything too splashy. But as we begin to wrap up tonight, DT, I'm looking forward to next week. We'll have our draft preview episode next week. And then in a couple weeks, we'll actually be doing a Buffalo fan base like podcast, simulcast, where all of us will be together and you'll get a chance to see DT and I with some of the great content creators over at Buffalo fan base. DT, I'm excited for the draft. I can't wait to talk to you next week about it and get some more in-depth ideas that you've got. I always love the draft. I'm just not a draft nerd, so I'm not doing mocks all day and stuff like that. That doesn't really move me. When do we pick? What time are we picking? And who are the best players on the board? And obviously what our needs are the things that I focus on. But I am excited about the draft coming up in a couple of weeks. And DT, listen, enjoy your weekend, man. What do you got? I know we don't have a tailgate report, but I know you've got something going on right now. What are you headed to? Shout out over 600 people watching tonight. We really appreciate you guys.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Great weekend ahead. I'm going to Kelsey Ballerini tonight.
Okay.
I found out who she was about 2 days ago. It was a rescheduled concert at KeyBank. So on the reschedule, some people couldn't make it from the previous tickets to the new tickets. So I don't know why I was the person to fill that spot, but here we are. Yeah. And going to that, getting downtown, older DT don't get out as much as he used to, so it's good to get out on the town. And it's been a long, cold winter. It still is cold up here. It's bullshit. But got that going tonight. Maybe see the nephew and sister and brother-in-law this weekend, and then Masters Sunday, man. Yeah. The Masters. We're all about the Masters. Get the jacket, see the golf, and that kind of gets you in the mood for spring and the azaleas down in Georgia, and then you look out and it's snowing and raining here. But it'll be a good weekend. Looking forward to it. Just to be out and about. What about you?
Yeah, man, chilling, man. I've got Bobby and Nate are on a cruise. They went on a cruise with their mom, their first cruise, so they'll be back, I think, Sunday or Monday. So that's been cool to hear the updates about how much fun they've been having. So I've been having the little ones around, Quincy in the house, Flo in the house, and Ivy doing her thing, rolling over everywhere. So we've been having a good time here. Low-key, the weather's finally started to break down here in Charlotte, which is really cool. It's rainy today, but it has broken and it's definitely starting to warm up. So that's a good thing. But yeah, man, just slow motion, man. Off season, you already know me, DT. I'm slow motion. Make sure the kids don't break nothing. Nobody's bleeding. And we're just trying to get to September. That's it. I'm trying to get back to you, baby. Get back to the Ralph. And I'm really excited about that. But we will talk next week, DT. Listen, Nickel City Crew, Bills Mafia, we appreciate you guys. Over 600 people watching for our season 5 premiere. We really appreciate it. Again, I feel so blessed, and I know DT feels the same way. We've been with you guys now 5 seasons. This one will be our best one yet. And as always, we hope it's going to end with a parade. Listen, DT, you enjoy your weekend. Enjoy whoever the hell you're talking about. I have no idea who that lady is, but you enjoy the concert and enjoy downtown. DT, listen, out there, spread love, not hate. These were my Bills thoughts said out loud. Hit them with a Go Bills, DT. Season 5's underway, baby. Can you believe it?
Season 5. Let's go. Go Bills.
Go Bills. I love it. I love it.